Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Dan Vega.
Andrew Morales. Welcome to the Spanglish Business Show.
We're glad to have you. Glad that you're tuning in today. And we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of very cool business stuff to discuss. We have a lot to cover.
That's right.
Do we have a lot? I'm not sure if we have a lot to cover. I just say that.
We do have a lot. We do have a lot. And we got a lot of stories today and a lot of things happening in the news, man.
Tell me what's happening in the news, my man.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Because I got to be honest. I'm out of the loop.
You out of the
This
loop?
last week, I had a little bit of a cold. I had a mishap at the house
Oh, that's not
all
good.
week. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Do you
I
wanna
hope
hear about
everything is fine. I
It's
mean,
okay.
I can hear about it if you want to share with
No,
everyone.
no. It's not a big deal. So
Okay.
my wife, Penny,
All right.
we were volunteering, doing some work with the church that we go to.
Mhm.
And so she was sanding just some interior bathroom cabinets. We were just doing some minor work, and for some reason she got a splinter.
Mhm.
But when my wife does something, she does it like 150%. So the splinter goes in one side of her finger, comes out the other side, all the way through. And apparently there was like nerve damage or whatever. So I'm asking around for like tweezers and blah, blah, blah. And it looks like, at first I'm like, come on, it's a splinter. I know it's deep, but I'm pulling on that thing, man, like you can't believe, and there's just no way of getting it out. So
Wow.
ultimately we had to take her to the like a ER.
Yeah.
They had to make an incision to get it out.
Absolutely.
And her finger's kind of, not fantastic yet.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of a whole thing
Yes.
for my weekend. Plus, I've been dealing with this cold. And my son started back to school. That's a big thing, back to school.
Back to school, everybody.
So it's been a hectic week. So in terms
Yeah.
of news, what's going on in the world,
You're way out of
whatever, I don't know nothing, man. I'm out of the loop.
Let me tell you something, man. You like right now they have electric cars, right? They
Yes.
got batteries. They got companies like the Bolt.
Are we talking about
And they got
this kind of a
Tesla.
deal or
I'm
like
talking
real
about
quick?
real driving cars.
Okay,
man.
yeah.
Well, Tesla just rolled out the Model 3.
Okay.
In Spanish, it would be Modelo 3. And it's an all-electric car. You can go up to 220 miles just on electric charge.
220 miles charging it. So
220 yeah.
you're going down this old country road. You don't have any juice. What do you do?
Well,
How does that work?
you got to plan your trip ahead. You got to make sure you recharge your car accordingly to the trip that you're going, and you should be fine.
But on a
Yeah.
road trip, and I don't know this, is there enough places along the way
There is
that
right
you can
now.
plug up? Or
Yeah, there is right now in the United States. You can go all the way from New York to California and back, and there are places that you can recharge your car. Also, in your car, it tells you where is the nearest place that you can go and recharge,
okay.
which is pretty cool. Now, the main thing about this car is
Are you being paid by Tesla? Because this sounds like an ad right now. Like you're pitching me on
no,
Tesla.
but I
I mean, if you're getting a sponsorship with Tesla, I'm okay with it, man. Go pitch me.
Well, that's another thing. It's a cool car, and I like it.
Tesla.
I just
Brought
wanna
to
let
by
the viewers-
Angel Wallace.
I just want to let the viewers
Okay,
know
man.
how technology
Okay.
in the future is changing.
Pick me in on a little piece of it. But go ahead.
Now, the coolest thing is that last year, over 500,000 people put $1,000 just to reserve this car. And now Tesla, made their promise, and they start delivering. They delivered the first 30 cars a few months ago, or about a month ago. Yeah, and
I
it's
don't
a
know,
cool
man.
car, and it starts at $35,000, so it's more affordable than the.
So are we
actual
talking like a family sedan, or are we talking
It's a
like a
family
race
car.
car?
It's a family car. It's a family car, but it's pretty cool. You need to go on the internet later on and check it out. Go to Tesla.com and check it out.
Well, my little brother is always talking about Tesla, and he's very into technology. And apparently, they came out with a new SUV, and he's thinking about buying it.
Yeah, I heard about it. Yeah.
But it just seems like I don't know, and maybe it's just me, and I don't know what I'm talking about. It seems early that, like, when I road trip it, I don't have the whole thing planned out. I'm going to be like, flip a coin, let's go left. I want to have an adventure. I don't know that I'm going to be on those places where there's plug-ups, and maybe it's just a person like me shouldn't have a car like that until...
Yeah, you should be fine. Nowadays, the car will tell you what's the next
Okay, man.
place you got recharged, how much battery you got left on the car. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
smart car. It tells you everything.
Yeah.
And also, it's paired with your phone. So you can't go wrong.
Okay.
So you can be eating a steak, and your battery say, you got 35% of your car left.
Technology, man. So
Okay,
are you going to buy one or what?
I might. Yeah, I'm
You
looking-
seriously consider
I'm
it?
seriously considering.
Yeah.
I'm looking into the future.
So my friend has a hybrid.
Mhm.
I'm not sure what it is. It looks like a box with wheels, and you can't hear it run. It seems like it dies at the stoplight, and then I'm kind of like, are we dead? And he just, I don't know what it is, but I was always kind of ragging him out for having this car because it's not my kind of car. And but then I rode with him for several weeks. We would come in, because I don't like to drive, so we would bring me in, and he never put gas in it. And so it does use some gas.
Yes.
But he says, I fill it up every 2 to 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And after a while, I'm like, maybe there's something to this, but I'm not sure if, personally, I like, not even like alternative clean fuel. I want like to burn the old school gasoline and like create smog. And I'm
with lead or no lead.
Literally, just fully let it, let her rip, man.
Just fully let it. 93 octane plus.
Yeah.
Man, it's like, you like driving Vipers then.
Yeah.
V12 or V10 car.
What? I just don't believe in emissions. Just let it rip and whatever happens. No, I'm kidding.
You're crazy, man. Now, you do a lot of businesses. I do a lot of businesses. And we also like to have a space where we can talk to our people and let them know the future plans for the company. Things like that. Now, Jeff Bezos from Amazon.
Yeah, Bezos.
He uses the 2 pizza rule.
What? The what?
2 pizza rule. You never heard that before?
Say that. I'm not following you.
2 pizza rule.
Pizza.
2 pizza rule.
Pizza.
Like pizzas. For example, I buy 2 large pizzas, right?
Pizza. I'm
pizza.
with it. Yeah. Okay, I wasn't figuring that out.
Pizza con chorizo.
That's why they call it the Spanglish business show. Okay, no, I understand. This.
2 pizzas with chorizo,
the 2 pizza rule, Jeff Bezos.
So let's see, you have, how many slices do you have in a pizza in a large? Maybe 10?
I don't know.
Okay, in 2 pizzas you got 20. Okay. Well, pretty much if you can't feed no more than, 30 people in the room, you should be fine.
Okay.
But if you can't feed more than 2 pizzas in a room, it'll be too many people in the meeting.
Okay. So he's saying, let me see if I'm feeling what you're laying down.
Go ahead.
Bezos is saying there's a 2 pizza rule when it comes to his business meetings.
Yeah.
And if everybody can't eat on 2 pizza, the meeting's too big.
It's too big, yeah.
It's too big.
Yeah. So I get 2 slices, you get 2 slices, everybody get 2 slices, you get.
I see the sense of this, but I'm wondering, like, who comes up with this? Like, he's sitting there eating pizza in a business meeting, and he's like, this may be too big. Where's the pizza? We're out? It's maybe too big.
More. Can I get some more pizza?
This is BS. I need more pizza. No more meetings like this. Yeah. Like, how do you get to know, like, how do you make that connection that there's a 2 pizza rule? And
it's a lot of people.
Is it economics of, like, we are not spending more than whatever it costs for 2 pizzas for these freaking people, and that's it?
Yeah, it's a lot of people in business use that pizza, the 2 pizza rule.
Dude, you learn something every day. I've never heard of that.
I'm telling you, man. And it works. They said it works.
Have you ever heard of the 2 carnitas rule?
No, man.
No, I'm making it up.
Hey, we can make that happen here. 2 carnitas rule. What about 2 taco rule?
No, I do more than 2 tacos, but
2 chalupa rule.
Okay, Bezos. I'm with that.
Yeah, it's a good rule.
Okay.
Yeah. So, any word of our guest today, man?
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them.
No. Okay. So, like, talking about the guest, I have a crazy story for you.
Okay, tell us.
I'm not one of these guys that buys into, like, everything happens for a reason and, like, karma. That's just, I'm not, I think things happen sometimes, just unfortunate, things happen, and sometimes you're in the right place, right time.
Oh, yeah. But
I do believe that over the years in business and in life, sometimes I'll get an intuition about something. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that happens, but I'll meet somebody that's potentially thinking about business, and I'll get a little thing that's like, be cautious, a little spider sense. Yeah. And every single time in my life that I've ever just ignored it and like, it's fine, this guy's cool, it always comes back and kills me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So over the years, I've developed, like, really listening to myself and, like, my intuition, my gut. I really want to listen to kind of
sense.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is. I just always kind of trusted it. It steered me right. So recently, I had to show up to one of our offices early. We were covering for somebody, and my assistant had to go in really early. And he was like, "Are you going to be in tomorrow, or is it just going to be me?" And I kind of felt bad, so I said, "Oh, I'm going to be in early." And so I came in not as early as him, but I came in early.
It was somewhat early.
Somewhat early. It was like 10:45. No, it was like 8 something. So I felt bad that he had to come in so early. He came in like 7, and for my line of work, that's like really early.
Then.
So I thought, I'll do something nice and I'll take him out to breakfast.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we meet up at this little breakfast place by one of our offices. I never go to this place, okay? And I'm sitting there getting my breakfast, and this guy taps me on the shoulder, and he's like, "Hey, how are you?" And he introduces himself. He's an entrepreneur. And I don't really know the guy real well. I had met him a few years ago where when we were doing one of our other shows, we were filming it, of course, as you know, in front of a live audience, maybe 150 people in the audience. And you meet a lot of people doing that, and it's, how that deal is. Yeah. So apparently he had come to several of the filmings. He was a part of the live audience. We had met a few times, and I do remember actually meeting him. Only reason why is he was kind of dating this kind of attractive Italian chick, and I remember thinking, like, they're both pretty good looking people. What is the story there? I don't really know. And so anyways, he taps me on the shoulder and he says, "Hey, how's it going? It's been a couple of years. What are you doing?" So I got my breakfast. He got his. It's kind of a thing where you get your own
small
thing.
More, ain't it?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I go sit down in this little area, and I'm eating my breakfast, me and my assistant, Bobby, and he goes over and sits by himself, kind of doing his thing. So I said, "Hey, come on over, sit with us,
Yeah. Why not?
And so we're just talking business, and he said something to the effect of, "Dan, I know you do kind of some things and some television, but I don't really know exactly what you do." And I said, "I know the same thing. I know you do a lot of big things, but I don't really know exactly what you do." And he started talking, and I swear, in 2 seconds, I'm like, me and this guy are cut from the same cloth. You ever just meet somebody and you're like, man, there's a crazy reason of probably why I went here today.
Oh, yeah.
And, he started telling me about working with different people that I knew, and he's talking about this person, that person, I'm buying that book, and then I'm telling him this and that. He's like, "God, that's so weird." I know,
it has some similarities.
Yeah, a lot of similarities, a lot of symbiosis of things that we do together. So it wound up where I said, I said, "Dude, what do you do right now?" And we went back to one of our offices to continue our conversation. And ironically, I had these 2 meetings scheduled that kind of rescheduled. They moved around where we could talk.
That's perfect.
And things just started kind of falling into place. And then we met again recently. And at the end of our last meeting, I just basically I was so sold on the value that this guy has. And he's a minority entrepreneur. He's from born in Paris, raised in Paris.
Oh, wow.
And went to the Big Apple to try to make his mark, and very well traveled, and so we just got to wrap it. And at the end of talking the last time, I said, "How do we play together? Like, what do we?" He says, "I don't know. I have like 50 ideas," and I said, "Me too." And we still haven't really mapped out exactly what we're going to do, but I just kind of feel like that it was one of those real right place at the right time that we're kind of connected. And potentially he could fill a lot of holes for me and maybe vice versa. And I think we kind of both have this sense, but I don't know if I can explain that, or how it is. I don't know. Has anything happened like that to you?
Yeah, happened to me a lot of times. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like.
But it's rare occasions, It's a rare occasion where we get to meet somebody of high value, in the same place, and then you have the same similarities, and then you can collaborate, with different ideas. And,
Well, and there's a vetting process because, as you know, as entrepreneurs, there's many serious, successful entrepreneurs, but there's a lot of wannapreneurs, that are out there that are just posers, and they're talking big time stuff and they project big time, but none of it's real, And over the years, I've really learned to just listen. And in 5 minutes, I'm like, this ain't for real. And right away, I'm like, this guy's legit. He does what he says. I knew he was a real guy. You could tell by the experience, and
he's a doer.
Yeah, he showed me some of the things he's working on, and I showed him some of the things I'm working on. And we were both kind of like, wow, But it doesn't happen very often, and it's kind of an odd deal. That's who's on today.
Awesome. And the name is?
I have no idea. No, I know. His name is Mesure. Mesure. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. He's French. Mesure. So I thought, like, okay, this guy's not Latino. I don't think.
Okay.
there could be, the Spanish really
It
got
could be,
around. However, I figure, this show is about international business. It's about empowering entrepreneurs, particularly minority entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
And I figure my friend Angel Pomales probably wouldn't mind if we squeezed in a French guy here and there, or like an Italian
Yeah.
chick, or
I don't mind.
you got me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's really the message, is to help
That's the message. Yeah,
startups and help entrepreneurs, and
Absolutely.
especially empower minority.
and you're right.
business owners.
The main focus of this show is to bring people that have been there, that have all this experience and knowledge on when they start a business, how they start the business, and also telling us their mistakes that they made. So, in order for our viewers and ourselves, I'm talking for everybody.
Yeah.
If you start a business, you don't make the same mistakes that they made, and
Yeah, it helps you navigate your own
you navigate.
career.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Well, and the reason I'm really excited to talk about this guy is I do what I do really well, and then I don't do most things well. You know what I mean? I know what I know, but I don't try to pretend what I don't know and try to fake it. I try to hire good people. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I do what I do well, but this guy does the parts that I don't do well, and vice versa. And so it's like, wow, this is a really good synergy.
Yeah, so it's a good. You can learn a lot of new things from him.
Yep, and he's a really good-looking, sharp dude. And honestly, if this doesn't work out, he could be a better co-host than me. Just to be honest with you, so I don't want to lose my position. But I got to tell you, he could be the guy where it's like, "Welcome to the Minority Business Show," and there's a whole. This could happen, man.
Does he speak Spanish?
I don't know. I hope not,
We'll
because.
ask him. Oh man!
But let's dial him in. I'm excited to talk to Mikel.
Okay.
Mesure. I think I'm going to have to ask him about that.
Yeah, we'll ask him. And before we go any further, I'm going to call him up right now. But today we are drinking Tommy Collins. Now, usually the Tommy Collins, is Tommy, right? But because these are Spanish Tommy Collins, so they are Tomi.
Are they called Tommy Gun Collins?
No, this time.
Okay.
But these are Tommy Gun.
Okay, good.
Collins with the I. So,
all right.
All right, and they're pretty good. Pretty good.
When I first took the first sip, it was a little bit like, right?
Yeah.
But now I'm getting used to it.
Now you're getting used to it?
It got me a little bit.
All right, well, let's...
dial him in. Mikel.
Mikel here. Mesure. Mikel Mesure. All right, this is an interesting entrepreneur.
This guy knows his stuff, man. He's savvy.
All right, here he goes. Oops.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Miguel.
Can you hear me okay?
We hear you perfect, my man.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, listen, I have to know right away. So it's Mikel. The last name, is it Mesure?
Mesure, yes.
Mesure.
Mesure.
You have to do it like the French Mesure.
Mesure.
I see your French studies paid off.
Yeah, well, I did a little bit of French behind the bleachers in high school. But other than that...
He was sneaking in.
Well, man, so I was telling our viewers a little bit about how we kind of connected. And, honestly, I mentioned, I'm not really one of these guys that puts a lot of stock into, the universe. Everything happens for a reason. I do believe in laws of attraction and other principles like that. But it was kind of odd the way we kind of ran into each other. And, I think we kind of have talked about like this. Both of us were kind of like, wow, I don't know what this is, but we probably need to get to know further because there's something here maybe, right?
Yeah.
And so, or else I'm making all this up. It's just me and you. You're like, I don't know what you mean, man. I'm just here to do the interview. But so anyways, we were very impressed with meeting you, and I wanted to bring you on today. And I know that you're not Latino, you're not Spanish, although the Spaniards really got around, and there may be an 1/8% somewhere in there. But the purpose is really talking to and empowering entrepreneurs, and particularly minority entrepreneurs. And we wanted to talk to you now. I know, Mikel, that you're a very, I don't want to say a serial entrepreneur, but you've done a lot of things successfully. And you've built several companies, and you're really kind of a guru when it comes to internet marketing and leads. And you've had a lot of success for being a young guy. I'm calling you a young guy because we're the same age, and that makes me feel good.
It makes me feel good too.
Yeah, you're a young guy. But compared to Angel, we're both pretty young. No.
Hey, I'm a young guy too.
So, but before we get into all the success and everything, tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got started down the path of becoming an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
Well, I think, personally, I think that entrepreneurs are kind of born. I mean, you just got it in your blood somehow. You don't know it until you figure out what it is.
Right.
But my first thing, as a kid, same thing. My stepdad was a manufacturer of plastic. He used to make those cases for Black & Decker.
Yeah.
When you buy a drill, and I would go to the factory and I would see those rejects that they would put on the side, and so I grabbed those rejects and I gutted the bowl that they had for the drill, and I started peddling those at my school. And so I had a bit of a knack of finding something that, another man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yeah.
And that case looked cool, so I started selling it to my friends in school and make my first bucks that way.
And about at this time, you were about how old?
Like 7.
Oh man, nice.
Wow. Early age.
And I liked it. I liked the idea of having money because, in school, nobody was thinking about it. They were just thinking about, school. And I was like, well, how do you make money, And so that was kind of my first little go at entrepreneurship. And then summertime trying to make money to pay for video games. I bought a squeegee and parked at the green light. So when you're a kid, it looks cool. Now when you're a bit older, it's not as cool.
Right.
But that funded my Galaga addiction at the time. And by the way, to this day, I can reset the counter on Galaga.
Come on, man. I love me some Galaga.
Wow. I still love that game, man. I still play that game.
Awesome. Well, that probably dates us a little bit. But,
Yeah.
the squeegee experiment just definitely funded that. And then all kind of stuff. Always, was involved in, any ways to make money or help businesses. I think I was always, kind of had this sense of how to make things happen. And what's funny is that later on in life, there's a site called liquidation.com, and I probably did a few $1 million on that particular platform. And I built an expertise finding products that people, didn't market right. And I would grab the product, buy a sample, tweak the ad, and then I would send it to my email list. And if it was a hit, I would buy the whole thing and then run through it. So it kind of, in a weird way, later on in life, it ended up being a skill that was extremely valuable.
So these are people that maybe they had the right product, maybe they had good people, they just weren't marketing it correctly. They weren't finding those metrics that really were giving them success.
Exactly. Or somebody, sometimes a manufacturer, they'll do one product, one box, they'll ship it to the store, it doesn't move off the shelf, and next thing you know, they're closing it out. And meanwhile, we would do a creative, send an email, jazz it up a little bit, write some copy, and all of a sudden, things would fly off the shelves. And, many times people give it one shot. And I've seen that pattern many times. People try it one time, doesn't work, they quit. And meanwhile, a couple tweaks, and you may be a few feet away from gold,
Yeah, that's all it takes.
So how did you transition? I know you were kind of raised in Paris. What brought you, how did you get to the States?
All right, so I grew up in Paris, and I fell in love with this girl when I was 17, and to impress her, I decided to throw a party. So I set up this event at a Sofitel hotel. It was on the top floor. There was a swimming pool and windows with a view of the entire city. It was the most amazing setting.
Wow.
And I guess the gift of promoting, I went out, created this invitations that were really nicely made. And I went to all the modeling agencies, and instead of dropping a stack of 100 like other promoters would do, I would just drop 1 or 2 and kind of hint that photographer might be there, So long story short, the night of the event, it was a huge storm. I was like, man, this is over. Nobody's going to show up. But we ended up having about 350 people inside the building, in the pool. I mean, it was a crazy event. And about 150 people outside that never made it in.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was awesome. I got to say, it was probably one of the best memories ever. But unfortunately, things didn't quite work out. But I threw a second event. I had 1,100 people show up at the second event.
So that's the part 2, right?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I was like 17. I wasn't even legal to drink or anything like that. And
Wow.
during this event, which was about an hour away from my neighborhood, so I wasn't sure people were going to show up, but it was a big hit. So I threw those events, and then that love story ended. So to kind of change my mind, I went to New York City for a week and fell in love with New York. I was like, man, this is my city. I've got to be there. So I went back to France. I started law school at the time, and I dropped out. You know, my parents were like, look, if you want to go to New York, you're on your own. But if you want to stay and finish your study, we've got you. But I packed it up. 3,000 francs, about $500, one-way ticket, went to New York City.
Wow.
And, experience, I managed a club called The Rex, which was, it was started by two lawyers. One of them was dating Naomi Campbell at the time, so we had A-listers. I mean, it was a dream come true. It was about 18, 19, and, you know, we had Prince, Quincy Jones, Stevie Wonder. I mean, it was just like an amazing setting. For a young guy, I mean, it was like, wow, are you kidding me?
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah, so that started that, and then, you know, I went, I did all kind of stuff, but I wanted to get out of nightlife.
Yeah.
I went into a store in Soho. It was a store that I just opened, and I bought an item, and I really liked the concept. I thought, man, I could definitely see myself helping those guys out. So I went back, talked to the owner, and say, are you hiring? And he's like, no. I just hired anybody I need, so that's the end of that. But I stuck around, and I went and I found the manager, and I convinced her to hire me, and she did. So the next day I showed up, and he's like, what are you doing here? I told you we weren't hiring. I'm like, yeah, you're not, but your manager is.
Nice. I still use that technique all the time. We said no. No, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to your boss. He said yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like you're taking a lot of risk, and everything is, it's been paying off. So
yeah, and finding something that you know you can add value, then also
yes.
you've got that little extra drive that you won't take no for an answer because you know you got something good today. You know.
Well, and you know as well as I do, every entrepreneur that's ever started out and saying, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to pursue my dream, I'm going to try to make an impact, I'm going to go out there and, get into my vision, we're leaving something else. And usually it's family, friends, people that are trying to take care of us, but they're saying, man, don't do this. It's totally crazy. It's risky. Here you're in law school, and then all of a sudden you're telling your family, and you're 18, and most of us don't even know who we are yet. And then you're saying, you know what? I'm headed to the Big Apple. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm dropping out. How difficult was that, man?
Well, I guess at 18 you don't think that much.
Yeah. I was in the same boat you were.
But you know what I found over the years? That there's people that go, and there's people that stay and never go.
Uh-huh.
And they have the regrets. You see them later, and and at the end of the day, when we're all in the retirement home, what kind of story are you going to tell?
Yeah.
They never see what's in the other side of the river.
Man, I used to meet guys that lived in the Midwest. I was there for a few years, and they've never been south of Branson, Missouri. Never. These guys our age, 40s, 50s, never seen the ocean. And they would be like, Dan, is it like it is on television? I'm like, no, man, it ain't.
It's a lot better.
It's like, I don't understand that mentality. I understand not wanting to take risks, and I've been there myself at certain times in my life. But man, I would risk everything to go live a little bit. Just existing isn't living. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just existing, eating, going to sleep, that's not living.
Well, and I think, for college graduate, people that just graduated high school and things like that. Now, it's the time, especially in this day and age. Everything is, with the internet, it's just so much.
Yeah.
Go and try and explore and give it all you got when you figure yourself out. Yeah.
So one of the books that Angel's been reading is .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. And a lot of anybody that's out there that's a savvy entrepreneur that's really in the know knows the name Russell Brunson. He's the guy when it comes to ClickFunnels and how to drive traffic. And in fact, the book that I'm looking at right here, the book you've been reading, the forwards by Dan Kennedy and the there's a testimonial here from Tony Robbins. So this is a guy that's really at the high level. Now I know you've done some work with Russell and have a chance to kind of get to know him, but talk a little bit about some of the few ventures that you've been on, the last few ventures. I know you've kind of been growing, learning, honing skills, and now you've helped several different companies kind of get out there. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, I'll go back to a bit in New York. That job that I took at $5 an hour, where the job, the boss hated me at first. It's like, I told you we were hiring, and he went behind my back. He had a table by the door where they had those bottles from Spain, and they were handmade of recycled glass. So what I did is that I parked by that table, and anybody that would leave the store, I would say, "Hey, have you seen those bottles? Man, they're handmade in Spain. They're recycled glass." So a numbers game. Out of 10 people, I would get 3 to go back to the cash register and check out again. So I kind of stood from the crowd and became his number one sales guy. The manager that hired me fired me because she felt a little bit threatened. He was out in Europe on a business trip. He came back, fired her, brought me back in.
Wow.
And at the time I read a book, I had very little money. I went to the library and I found this book, and it was like, man, I need something to get out of to innovate my game. And I found this one book that says How to Make $1 Million in the Mail Order Business. I'm like, okay, that's my book. So I read the book, and he talked about trade shows, and I was a bit familiar with it, but not quite as far as the angle of working it. But long story short, I went to a trade show, and I bought a couple items that we would carry in the store from local importers. And what I did is I sat my boss down and I said, look, I know that you buy this item for $1. I know that you sell 50 every weekend because you order it directly from China. You sell it for $10. You've got great margins, but you sold out for the next 6 weeks until the next shipment. So what if I could bring you this item in the store on Friday for $5 a piece? How many would you like? And so he started with one item, 2, 3, 5, 10. 3 months later, I became his number one supplier for the U.S., and then I left and started my own importing and wholesaling business, and went from that $5 an hour job to about $2 million a year in sales.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That was my first hit, and then back then I'm in New York, it's mid to late 90s, and everybody's talking about the internet, and I had this concept of, wow, your credit card statement where you get those items, hey, get a free gift, just pay shipping.
Yeah, sure.
So I got hooked on that. I realized, man, I should do that online, and that's what I did. So over a year's time, I built a list on eBay, which back then was a whole lot harder because nothing was, it was virgin. It was virgin territory. So, but I learned through that process. Joseph Kosman in that book taught me about copywriting and advertising and pricing and merchandising. So I played around with eBay, figured out how it worked, and built a list over a 1 year period of time of 890 customers.
Wow.
And so one night I was, I emailed at 890. I emailed them an item and said, hey, it's free, just give me $5 for shipping. Went to bed. Next day I wake up, I have 59 sales.
Oh, man.
Wow. That's an amazing story, man. That's good.
Yeah, I was on fire. So I'm driving to the post office, shipping the stuff, and also I locked on to that concept. It's called shippingonly.com, and I'm just going to do that. So I had my wholesale business. I would have people call in, place order. I didn't even answer the phone. I didn't care. I really saw a vision. I got in the zone, and I was willing to bet everything on that new horse. And long story short, I went from my garage to 18 months later, 45 employees and 550,000 customers.
Wow.
We're doing about $7 million a year in sales.
So you guys went very fast.
Very fast. Early 2000, young guy trying to figure out things works.
Yeah.
And back then, a lot of people, they all want to take you to lunch. Like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, sure.
And eBay wasn't even the hit like it is today.
Yes.
Like you say.
And I try to tell Angel that's one reason I've gotten so heavy over the years. Is I do a lot of lunches, man. People want to take me to lunch. It's too many carnitas.
It's funny because I would meet somebody at Starbucks and buy you coffee or lunch, whatever, and they'd give you their concept, and all of a sudden you mapped out a $1 million plan on a napkin, and they would be like, man, you have no idea. This is like a godsend. Thank you. This is,
Yeah.
And so they would leave, pay for a cup of coffee, and the next day they would be so fired up, man, this is the game changer for me. It's going to change my life. And then the next day they would go in and they're all gun-ho, and then something would happen. They'd drop the kid at school, something else would happen, and by lunchtime they forgot about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So do you still kind of build your own stuff, or are you now more focused on joint venturing with others or helping other people find success now? I know you've had a great measure of success over the years, but the last few ventures, how do you structure it?
Okay, so, what I did is I started a company buying domain names. So I would be in my swimming pool, and I would think of business ideas or concepts, and then I would vision out what the brand would look like. So I would buy the domain name, I would set up a logo for that name, and then I would map out the technology that would go behind it. And over the years, I sold a few hundred domain names. It's been very profitable over the years. And I was involved in a lot of things. I launched the first penny auction site in the U.S., where we launched this concept, went from 0 to profitable in 11 days. Massive business. I launched different campaigns. I'm a pioneer of what's called CPA marketing, a cost per action. Started with a lot of networks in that space. Guys, I was just sending some emails and kind of figuring stuff out. And next thing you know, are now $500 million or $1 billion companies. And so I've had a lot of successes and failures, trying all different things. I've launched probably hundreds of sites over the years. And, the internet makes it so easy. You've got an idea, you get live 24/7, 365 global. I mean, for an entrepreneur, it's like crack, I guess, because you're like, what can't you do?
Yeah, exactly.
So can you tell us one particular failure that you might have, and next thing you know, because you fail, you learn a different way on how to become better at that failure?
Okay. Well, one of the businesses I was involved in was a huge success. I mean, it grossed over $50 million in less than a year.
Wow.
And but I went from the high to the low. I found myself from a huge ride to back being on the beach at Portofino in my condo without $1 to make the bridge. I mean, I went from a mega hit to losing it all. And when things like that happen, I guess you hit the floor, you get on your knees, like, what is up? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? And what I found is no matter what businesses I was over the years, where I succeeded or failed, there was a time where I would come to where I grew wary. I just it was once it was launched or whether it succeeded or failed, I just grew wary about the business. And until about last year, I picked up a book by Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. And I don't know if you know much about that book, but he published that book at the same time he wrote Think and Grow Rich. And he shelved that book because he knew that if he published it back in those days, he would get crucified. So in order for the gospel of Think and Grow Rich to propagate, he died to his masterwork. And if you read that book, it is so timely now, it's just unreal. And in that book, he shares that he had a share of successes and failures, and he found that every business he rolled out, he grew wary. And he came to the realization that his purpose wasn't to be, he could be successful in any business, make a living, to be a dry cleaner or whatever business. But his purpose was to serve, and he could serve more people in sharing the information that he had rather than run a particular business himself. So if you look at it, by the time he passed away, he sold over 100 million copies of his book, billions of ideas generated, millions of businesses created from that thought process. And when I read that, it just resonated with me. To the fact that, from the beginning of time till 2003, the entire human knowledge consists of 5 exabytes of data. Now, since 2003, we go through 5 exabytes of data every 2 days.
Wow.
Interesting.
Mind blowing.
Yeah, it is.
Mind blowing.
It is.
Let me ask you this. you were talking about becoming a little bit disenchanted with a business or a little bit, I don't know if it's bored or whatever. I've definitely experienced that over the years. And I feel like it's a lot like they say, it's not wanting something, but it's wanting something after you have it. Like, once you attain it, it doesn't give you the satisfaction that you thought it would. It was the happiness and was in the journey of it. And then once you finally get that carrot and you attain it, it's like, okay, not what I thought it was. And we're a little bit dissatisfied, and after a while, I mean, like any entrepreneur, of course, we all have our wins. We've had a lot of failures, but over time, we have enough wins where money isn't the main priority. It's to make an impact, right, and to make a difference. And I know we've talked about that, but I think there is a lot to it of like when you're building something and there's that anticipation and excitement, and you're also helping new people that maybe have never seen the other side. Man, guys, here's what's going to happen, and you're really doing it as much for yourself as for them as yourself. And there's this thing, and then once you kind of get all systems put in place, everything's running smooth. It's like, okay, other people can do this now. What's next for me? It's not as challenging anymore, I guess I'd say. Is that kind of what you've experienced?
Yeah, I think it's the entrepreneur mindset, and I think until I read Kiyosaki and understand the quadrant.
Yeah.
The business owner, the professional, and the investor. What I found is that I brought a lot of employees over the years, and I could always find in them the David. I always saw what they could be amazing at. But unless you could get them to see that, it was wasted time.
Sure.
And so I had this thing where you are different. That's just the way it is. There's people in the world that answer the phone, and there's people that make the phone ring. And the ones that make the phone ring are just wired different. That's why we're more in demand in a way. And you can wear yourself out with an employee mindset, trying to elevate them to the next level, and some may grasp it or not. But it's easier, I think, to work with the entrepreneurs that are investing in you, because all of a sudden you can seed in them, you can mentor them, and you can see them grow and blossom, and that's the high. That's the thing that makes it tick for me.
I love what you said there about it's some people are cut out to answer the phone, other people make the phone ring. God, I love that. I have to steal that, and I'm letting you know now because you're so right about that. Not everybody's cut out to be an entrepreneur.
Super right.
Some people are just supposed to have a job, man. They can't line themselves out. They don't have enough self-discipline. They don't have enough, drive and wherewithal to withstand, taking their share of nosebleeds and the pain that in the beginning, and that's what they want. They don't want the big thing. They just want to answer phones. And I want to give them what they want because I'm okay with the other side of it, but I'll get that dang phone to ring, man. That makes a lot of sense to me.
And some of it is cool. People have different goals, different mindset, different situations. Some people are super happy with the setup and they were great, So there's no knocking that down. It's just realizing... I was reading about Napoleon Hill. So is there anybody around you that might be a friend, but actually is not a friend? Because they're, what I've learned is that people won't allow you to have what they don't allow themselves to have. So it's the crab mentality, the crab mindset. Was that look, if I can't have it, you can't have it.
Yeah.
And I think it's very real. And the tragedy is when we do that to ourselves.
That's right.
You're right. You're right on that one.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Mikhail. I kind of sense that you're at this place, and maybe not. You've had a lot of successes over the years. Like all of us, we've had some failures. We've learned from them. And you've done enough in your life now to where you're kind of just, hey, I've sold companies. I've built companies. I've done this. I've done that. I've made people successful. I've figured it out. Now I'm kind of at this place saying, okay, I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm doing. What's the next thing? I'm in this kind of place now saying, what's my next thing going to be? Is that kind of where you're at now, or what are you working on now?
Yeah, well, that reading from Outwitting the Devil was a game changer for me. I really identified with what he went through, and understanding that when he wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, he was at his lowest. I can only imagine the talk in his mind, about how could you be writing about this stuff when you're not doing that well right now, And he was launching the science of personal development when it didn't even exist, So who are you to talk about a philosophy when you're not at your best?
Sure.
You've gone through all this thing, but the reality is that if he didn't have the courage to press in and put down together the information that people needed, and actually was accredited to pulling the U.S. from the Depression of 1929, because people caught on to his mindset and implemented it, and whoever did built incredible fortunes that helped pull the economy out of the disaster that it was in. So what I realized is that, over the last 20 years now, I can't believe it's been 20 years, but I've launched, back then in the 90s, I launched, everything from scratch. So you had to code your own car.
Sure.
You had to figure out your own tracking platforms, your own email platform. Nothing existed. Now, these days, everything exists, and you can get it. You can get a grasshopper for $10 a month and have voicemail. You could get constant contact. You could get a click funnel to set up your funnel. All these things are there, but with the overload of information, people are like, man, I'm lost.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Mikhail, we want to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to talk to you about the new project that you're working on. Is it Think Digital, Grow Now? Is that what it is?
Think Digital, Grow Rich.
Think Digital, Grow Rich.
Wow. Continuation of Napoleon Hill's work, and helping, he would help his students work their way into companies by figuring out problems they did not know they had.
Yeah.
So he would identify a problem they didn't know they had, educate them to it, and then place his students into where they would start from the top at the management level instead of working their way from the bottom up.
Man.
My thing with Think Digital Grow Rich is the same thing, connecting people to the one thing that they can be successful with, based on their goals, their resources, the desires, and the skill set.
Yeah, you gave me a little bit of a preview the other day. I was blown away. But let's take a short break. When we get in, I want to really dig into that. And stick with us. More with Mikhail in a minute. Don't go anywhere, everybody. All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Spanglish Business Show. I'm here with Angel Pomales, my dear friend. And we've been talking with Mikhail Mesure. I'm saying that right? Serial entrepreneur. I mean, just lead guru, internet marketing guru. This guy's built numerous companies. He's helped a lot of people. And what I dig about that, you see what I'm saying now about cut from the same cloth.
Oh yeah.
And this is a guy that's not afraid to say, you know what, this is going to be the new thing, and I'm betting everything on this horse. And I'm all in. And sometimes as entrepreneurs, that's what we have to do. We have to go all in.
You got to take risk.
And sometimes it's not the right one, but if we're calculated and we know how to, have strategy and have good mentors,
we'll get there.
We can navigate most of the time pretty well for ourselves.
Absolutely.
And this is a guy that's certainly done that. Now, Mikhail, we were talking a little bit about your project now. Get into a little bit more about what you're doing now. You gave me a glimpse the other day at your studio. You have a first-class studio with props and just such an interesting place. But tell us a little bit about the purpose of it and what you're doing.
Okay, cool. Well, I use a game of Monopoly to illustrate my concepts because a picture is worth 1,000 words. And I found that using props just enlightens people to a complicated concept, and within minutes they grasp it. So I felt that was very effective. And what I found is just, you've got a lot of stuff where people launch, and usually the way it goes is you may buy a course on ClickBank, a JVZoo, a Udemy, maybe AppSumo. Maybe you're trying to set up a business online of sort. And then what happens is that you sign up for it, and you're ready to go. You're excited. You're about to get your stuff going. You focus. You finally found something that you connected with, and all of a sudden, the guy you bought the course from sends you an email and say, "Hey, my buddy Russell's got this great little course there that you should check out." So, well, you just paid the guy a few $1,000s. You I'll check it out. Next thing you know, you're on his webinar, and then thing, and next thing you know, they're mailing the thing about his other friend is doing this thing, and next thing you know, you totally forgot about the first one. And what I found is that most people are lost. They're like, man, I got all this overload of information. So they buy all the tools, they buy the drills and
the workshops, the whatever. Yeah.
But they never built a house before. They don't know what, and they're just lost. So they keep, and marketers do a good job of marketing. That's their job. But at the end of the day, they're just lost. And man, what would be a good fit for me? So I've been involved in a lot of different coaching programs and webinars on the webinar circuit, and kind of started developing an avatar, an affinity for these people. Really, hurting. It's like, man.
Sure.
You've got a skill set, you've got a dream, you've got a budget, you've got things you can do, but you just don't know what it is. So I started working on a program where I educate people, and I put out a questionnaire, which is a continuation of Napoleon Hill's work, and it's 100 questions. That by the time you go through those questions, you're in the 1%. What I mean by that is that less than 1% on the entire planet ever ask themselves those questions. And I tell you what, those questions are hardcore. You go through the first 10, you want to give up. You're like, man, that's enough. I don't want to. But if you do,
I have to take this. I have to know what this is.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to me.
well, you say that now. Once you go in, you're going to be, oh man.
Number 22. I'm out. No, I'm kidding.
So, but by the time you go through it, then what I figured out is that you could actually hone into like a GPS, figure out your starting point. Where am I starting from? And then what I do is that I give the students a list, which I call the 7 to 7. And what they are, they're 7 vehicles that could take you to 7 digits. Now, it's not an overnight thing. And what I love about it is that some of the programs are free. Some are like $20 or $30, but the value is insane. Some are as high as $15,000 or $20,000, where they're hands-on, where you actually go and hang with the guys and do it, which I believe if you're serious about your business and you want to get good at it, you're not going to learn to ride a bicycle by watching YouTube videos, You're not going to learn Spanish you can learn Spanish by taking the books and the Berlitz course or whatever it is. But if you really want to learn Spanish, if you're really serious about it, how about you pack it up and go to Spain where there's nobody else that speaks your language. And believe me, when it's time
you will get it.
Feed yourself, for some weird reason your Spanish is going to be excellent.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. One thing that I really get with what you're saying, I was in the seminar business for 9.5 years full time. We were going from city to city, 2-3 cities a week, and it's interesting in that business because exactly what you're saying we saw true as well. People are looking for something, they're desperate, they're hurting, they're trying to find answers, and these people, I would watch other people in the seminar business, and they'll tell you, these instructors, they'll tell you the what. Here's what you're doing wrong, and here's what you need to be doing. And then a handful of them, they'll sell you the how. Like, here's my workshop, or here's my books, or here's my whatever. Here's how I did it. And there's value. I mean, they're giving you the honest how they did it. But then these people come home, they spend $2,500 or whatever it is. They get home with a big box of stuff, and they're going through it, and they're just like, I don't know where to begin. I mean, do I start my corporation first? Do I need to S Corp, C Corp? Do I just do LLC? Do I create my website before my corporation? Do I need a logo? Do I get customers first before I sign what about a lease? Should I go home office? Like, they don't even know how to start. And in my experience, most people not only need the what you're doing wrong, here's what you need to be doing, the how, but they almost need a how for the how. You know what I mean? Like, okay, step 1 is this. Step 2 is this. When that's done, you're now going to do step 3. They need that real strategy. And it seems like that's really where you're leading people, is you're learning enough about them to really dial in on exactly the path and the things that they actually need to do. But it's not based from my perspective and my skill sets. It's based on theirs, things that they could actually stick with.
Yeah. Well, it's funny what you say. So yeah, there's how do you do it? What can I do is the first question. Then how is it done? But the most powerful question, and if you can get to that, that's the zone, that's the winning point, is the why.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can find your why, game over. You're unstoppable. And I think, you have Gary Vaynerchuk, Crush It, things like that. how are you going to go crush something if you don't know what it is?
Yeah.
If you're like, well, what is my thing? Now once you find your thing, then all of a sudden all the thing kicks in. And I think that's where the value is helping, you have all these launches where you buy a product and people are throwing all kind of bonuses, and we're all guilty of that. Next thing you know, you've got a hard drive with gigabytes of stuff you'll never use. And I really believe that the overload of information is misinformation. If I need a can of Coke, don't give me a 2-liter.
Yeah.
You're not serving me. You're hosing me.
Well, I kind of feel like, and Angel, let me get your thought on this. I kind of feel like the internet has kind of become that because, what I love about it on one hand is everything is so transparent. If I want to learn this, learn that, learn this, I can go to a guy that I feel like is doing something I want to do. He probably has either a podcast, he's blogging, he's creating digital content. I can buy his books. And he's telling you, here's what I do. The information is there. But at the same time, there's such a freaking sea of information that how do you realize what's good and what's bad? I mean, let's talk about nutrition. Half of it's saying stay away from meat, eat mostly just vegetables and fruit. The other side is saying mostly lean protein and fat, don't eat carbs. And there's so much misinformation and there's so much free information. I got to tell you, the place that I've kind of come to is I don't even do stuff. Like if this is a thing for free. Sometimes when I see this thing for free, I'm thinking, man, what's the value of it? I would rather spend $100 bill or whatever to buy it from a credible source that I know actually is credible and successful instead of all the free information on the internet, because I don't have the time to navigate through all that stuff and vet it, what's real, what's not real. My time is valuable. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
I think the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think too, it's not anymore about time management. I think that's late 90s maybe. It's more about focus management.
So you're calling me late 90s? Hey, man. It's okay. I'm a 90s dude, man.
What you manage your focus on, and also your time manages itself. I mean, of course, you got to prep and do your thing, but once your focus is right, then things align,
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you find your why, there's purpose in it, then there's provision as well.
Yeah.
So the question is, where are you? Most people, they're just so desperate, they're just trying to throw anything at it, see what sticks, and is the motive. And again, a different age group. I think when you're young, you just want the Ferrari, you want the boiler room.
Yeah, of course.
Screw everybody. Screw your mom and dad want to make your Lexus payments.
Yeah.
But as you get a bit older, if it's something that you fired up, you get out of bed, you can't wait to do it, that's where it's at.
That's right.
I only have one life to live that I know of, so find that thing and do it. And you got to do it now.
Yeah.
There's people clocking in day in, day out into things they absolutely hate. And, so I think two things too. You have entrepreneurs where all they need is the information. They're already solid. They're well in their head.
They're motivated. Yeah.
Yeah, they got their stuff together. They're already rolling. And then you got people that have issues that you may have to, one, the unlearning process. We have talked about that, where you may have somebody, I don't depend of age group. So let's say you're a kid, you're thinking, well, I'm going to build an app. Maybe you're lucky enough, you're in Silicon Valley. So you're thinking about the next unicorn, and you have nothing blocking you. You're an innovator, you see the potential, you only see the future, and you're creating. Now maybe you're older, and you're like, man, I don't even know what an app works like. So you may be doing better with the e-commerce, where you buy a product at a certain price and you resell it for a markup. So if you can grasp the concept for yourself, then you can learn it and be successful at it. I think many times people are put into concept that there's way too much unlearning for them to be able to.
No doubt. Let me ask you a question. I know you've had the privilege of working with some great people over the years. You've collaborated with some amazing people. And, most of us, regardless of what field that we're in, we usually started off as fans of someone else's work. Who are some of those people for you?
All right. Well, Joseph Kosman, How to Make $1 Million in the Mail Order Business.
The book that you bought when you were young.
Yeah.
Nice.
If if you look at it now, I was seeing reviews on Amazon. People were like, "Well, it's outdated." But man, if you go through that thing, it's just gold nuggets, from copywriting to strategies to things. And what I liked about him, it wasn't theoretical. It was just, look, do this, and then you read it, you do it, and it worked.
Nice.
So you're like, okay, well, what else he's got? So I love that. And what I love is that I took an exam, my English exam, when I graduated to go to college. I had this one sentence which was, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, teach him how to fish, and he'll eat for the rest of his life. And what I love about it is that Joseph Kosman, in his preface, he had a plaque on his desk that was exactly that quote. So it was like, wow, like a sign almost,
Yeah, sure.
So that book was impactful. The other one is Mark Joyner. He's the godfather of internet marketing. And he's the first guy that I followed kind of at a distance because I was pretty busy with my e-com. But he's the first guy that actually got on a plane because I wanted to meet him, shake his hand, and I went out there, actually bought him lunch, worked my way to him. I said, hey, lunch is on me, and got to shake hand, which was a big deal to me. And then Napoleon Hill, of course. I mean, Think and Grow Rich. If you just go back to that book and let that book go through you, it's just such an impactful read. And, the questions in that book, they say the good leaders ask good questions. And, man, he's got questions in that book that just, if you let the questions get through you, there's no way you can't grow, So
that's right.
Those are my guys.
How important do you feel like it is, I know for me personally, I'm not that smart of a guy. I do a couple of things well. And because of that opened doors for me with great people that took an interest in me. And fortunately, I was humble enough to accept their critique and learn as much as I can. And then I realized sometimes you outgrow a mentor and you need another mentor. But I do feel like a mentor, most entrepreneurs hopefully get on that path. To you, how important has mentors been in your career and in your life?
I think mentorship is huge. I think sometimes it may be difficult to find a mentor. I mean, everybody's busy. There's just so much stuff going on. But a big key for me to mentorship was through reading. I mean, if you can read and absorb the content of someone and really dive into their work and their stories and find out, that's how, for me, it was a great way to learn. And then eventually, if you can get to meet them and then take it a little further, like Mark Joyner for me was just genius. Like, man, I want to shake this guy's hand, So I think a good piece of advice, a lot of people are asking for mentors. I say, well, how is it that I can break into somebody's life in a way and figure out if they would mentor me or not? Many times you can just get that through the book, and that may lead or open other doors. So I think you can get mentored through your reading and study or YouTube videos. If you have somebody that you follow and you like,
yeah, sure,
you can really dive into them and have as many mentors as you need for whatever topic you need if you do the work,
And really, whatever we're trying to accomplish, man, there's somebody out there that has done it. They've done it well, and they're talking about it. They're on a podcast. They're writing books. They're creating content. And, for a few $100s in books or signing up for a couple of webinars, whatever, we can get their content. And it saves us years, man, in the game. And it helps us navigate the pitfalls that we would have stepped in, and really accelerates our careers for sure.
Yeah, that and going to events. I mean, nothing replaces you buying a ticket.
That's right.
Get on the plane, get on the Greyhound if you have to, walk there, whatever you got to do. I mean, how many stories of people that were on their last thing and then they banked on an event and they go there and there's one contact, one deal, one word, one idea that all of a sudden game changer. So yeah, going to events, shaking hands, being in the room around other people, because I think many times I call it the crab mentality. Like if you put a crab in a crab trap, the first one gets in, kind of eats the food, draws the other one in, and as soon as he tries to get out, they will try to stop him. They will maim the other crab, and they will even kill it if he keeps trying. So
interesting.
I call that the crab mentality,
Wow.
and you've got to get away from that. And many times that's right around your surroundings. I mean, picture Eminem. You know, he went from the hood in Detroit to working with Dre and blew up. Do you think the guys that he was hanging out with are happy for him?
Yeah, if he wouldn't have got out of that 8 Mile area, he would have never amounted to that. You got to get out of there, man.
Never got out.
Meet some context.
The guys that are there, because many times we don't allow other people to have what we don't allow ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, you know. So you've got to get out of that mindset. And many times you're an entrepreneur, you have an idea, you have this thing, and you come to the closest people to you, and they're actually not the one you're pushing your dream with.
That's right.
Yeah.
You gotta shield that, and you gotta know who to share with and when to keep it to yourself. You know?
Well, and to this day, in my spare time, if there's something around, you know, even if it's, you know, a day's drive or a short flight, an event, I'm going to like, you know what, I have a free weekend, I'm going to go hit this event. To me, it's fun, but I like to empty my cup. I like to be around. Sometimes I'll see things from a different perspective, and sometimes I'll bump into somebody. I'm like, wow, man, this is a lot of value. You just have to get out of the pond a little bit and you know, refresh.
Hey,
For
Michael. Sure. Yeah. Hey, you know that they say that some successful entrepreneurs are just high-paid storytellers.
Eventually, that's what we become.
Eventually, yeah. Tell us one of those stories that you usually use, you know, all the time, you know, to talk to.
Yeah. Do you have a good story you use in your business or your trainings?
Oh boy, I got a couple.
Tell us one of them.
Or a lesson learned
there you go.
that you use kind of forward, pay it forward.
Well, I'll go back to Cosman. You know, I just what I read from him is that, you know, he was in World War II, and then when he came back, he had a job, and he was trying to do better for himself. So he started running ads in the New York Times back then, and he found this one guy that had some soap that he advertised, and so he put an ad on the soap and typed letter on his kitchen table and started mailing out letters to contacts he had made during the war in Europe. And out of the blue, he got a bite, and he had this big order that came in at LC. So he reached out to the guy that had advertised the soap, and the guy's like, I don't have any. I just put it in the paper to see if there was any bites, but I don't know where to get it. So long story short, he went to New York City, he spent thousands of dollars in phone calls trying to find the manufacturer, found out that actually they were right there in New York City, found them, made a deal with a trucking company that fronted in the upfront money to bring the different containers to the port, and he went to the port. They were going to be late to get the stamp on his letter of credit so he could get paid. He hadn't showered in like 2 weeks, ran from his town to New York to the factory. I mean, a crazy story. The CEO of the freight company had recognized the entrepreneur. He stamped the letter, put him in his limo, drove him to the bank, he cashed his check, and then he went right back to work the next week at his regular job. And then he found out that they had let go of some other people there, whatever the deal was. And at that point, he realized that he never was made to work for somebody else, that he had the power and the authority to take his own destiny in his own hands. And so he stayed with them for a few months, and then he branched out and became very successful moving products. So that would be a story that for me was inspiring. I was like, yeah, okay, that's the first step. I learned a few tricks. I learned a few started, got me started, and then next, you keep going to the next level. You grow with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and usually it's a small win, and then it's like, wait a minute, I can do this, man. It gives us the confidence that we need of saying, you know what, I can do this, and I don't know everything right now, but I can figure it out. And that makes sense. You feel empowered, and you kind of once it's in the blood, it's hard to go back, right? So listen, Mikel, we're going to take another short break. When we come back, we're going to be getting into the lightning round. This is actually where it's called Conexión Rápida. Rápida. And we're actually going to get in. We're going to take about 3 minutes, ask you some questions to allow our viewers to get to know you on a little more personal level. So get ready for that. Stick with us. We'll be right back, everybody. Okay, everybody, we're back with Mikel Mesure.
Mikhail Mesure.
I'm going to take
Yeah.
more French lessons so I can get this done.
Me too.
Mesure. And we're getting into the
Awesome.
lightning round. And
That's
this is
right.
where we're going to learn a little bit more about you, allow our viewers to kind of connect with you on a personal level.
That's
So you
right.
ready, my man?
Yep.
All right, Angel, fire away. But
We're gonna start, but wait a minute. Let me get my 4th of July hat, man. Did I show you my 4th of July hat?
it's not 4th of July.
But it was. You know, a few months ago it was.
And it
I
will be
used-
again.
Well, my wife found it in the closet, so I was like, well, let me see if I can put it on, cause I think it looks pretty cool.
Okay, you're
There you
right.
go.
It's amazing.
Hey, lightning rounds, and we're gonna got fireworks.
He's
Fireworks.
such a Latino. He's like, you know what? I'm going to buy this 4th of July hat, but it's not even 4th of July. I can get it on sale.
4 de Julio.
Dude, it's in the blood.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
We're gonna go real quick. Okay, if you were in business, you are in now, what career path would you pursue?
I think next would be music and movie business.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
I do a little bit in the movie business.
Will you be singing or?
No, my dad was the artistic director for Arista Records.
Uh-huh.
So he brought Aretha Franklin, Otis Redding, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, nice.
He was the guy who brought all the big talent
Awesome.
back in the late 60s, early 70s. So I have that streak in my blood. Somewhere.
Nice.
That's good. So if you were an actor, you were doing like John Wayne?
No, he's more like a kind of
I said
a.
John Wayne because I got a cowboy hat right now.
He would
That's
be
what
kind
it
of like a French Pierce Brosnan.
A French Prince Bronco.
You know, kind of a suave Bond type almost,
Bond,
a
yeah.
French Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People think I'm a Christopher Walken's.
Oh my God, you don't even know, dude. You know, I don't know if you know this about me. I'm the most diehard Christopher Walken fan. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
Oh my God, I have
You do not.
stories about Walken. You ain't even gonna believe it.
Oh my
But,
God.
Can't wait to hear that.
Okay, go ahead, man.
We're going to next one here is there a field or job that you could never see yourself in?
I don't think I could work at the post office.
Post office? What about UPS driving a truck around?
Oh,
I don't know.
That's a lot of boxes and stuff. All right.
as Christopher Walken would say, that's a lot of boxes. Yeah, I'm with you on that, man.
All right. What music do you listen to when you are in the zone?
Yeah, if we rated your car right now, man, what are we gonna find?
Well, I guess to get in the zone, I like Eminem. I like Kendrick Lamar, DNA.
Dude.
Like the war songs a little bit.
That's pretty cool.
However, if I'm doing production work, there's this channel called Best Music Compilation, and they have a dance instrumental. So it's kind of I like
Oh, wow.
instrumental because you can kind of get in the zone.
Yep.
And then what I do actually is a pretty cool hack. There's another channel called Thomas, and he's got a subliminal thing where you got motivation, things like that. So what you do is you put two YouTube on top of each other,
Mm-hmm.
and then you put the subliminal one at a low,
Oh, I know what you mean.
and then you play the other combination with just instrumental, and it works
Mhm.
beautiful.
Oh, man.
And what about Smith and Morrissey?
Yes, of course.
Nice.
Nice.
That's
So
a
you're-
whole thing that
So you
we're.
are your own DJ.
That dates us, but yeah.
All right, right on.
Hey, what's your favorite guilty pleasure?
I like a Big Mac once in a while.
Big Mac. I like Big Macs. They got a new Big Mac version now.
What do you mean a new Big Mac version?
That's what they said. I heard that on the news. They got a new Big Mac version.
What do you mean, like a new recipe?
Not the healthiest thing, but once in a while, back in
Yeah, I guess the
France,
patties are
we
different.
ordered Big Mac on the
Yeah.
Champs-Elysees. So it's kind of a thing you do like once every other week, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
I do my own Big Mac in my house.
yeah.
Nice.
No
Every
comment.
time I barbecue. Always like, what you got 3 months for? Don't worry about it. All right. Do you have a celebrity crush?
I got a couple, but I said Nicole Kidman is one.
That's nice.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman. Well, did you ever see that movie with her and Alec Baldwin where he was a Malice? Did you ever see that where he's a high-end doctor? Man, that movie.
Oh, wow.
You got to check
I
that
got
out.
to check that out myself. Malice.
Malice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the best.
What about Coronas or Tecate? Those are beers.
Corona with a lime. Without
Good.
lime, forget about it.
I like Corona.
It's like no other. And Shield property, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Real chill. What about when you're driving? Do you prefer a luxury car or a low rider?
Luxury car for sure.
Luxury.
So, dude, do they have lowriders in Paris?
That's a good question.
Like in,
A couple here and there.
so like instead of the dice, the fuzzy dice on the mirror, it's like a little Eiffel Tower from in the.
That'd be cool.
Maybe a couple, probably more Peugeots and.
Okay, yeah, I see that. All right, we're going to. You look like a luxury car guy. Okay.
Now, I know you're from France, but I'm not sure if you know about menudo. If you were eating in a place in the United States, would you like menudo or chicken noodle?
I think I'd go for menudo.
Menudo.
Have you had menudo?
Yeah, actually, I had it in Miami. So
I'm actually saying it like a white guy. Have you had menudo lately?
It's
Menudo.
menudo.
Okay, dude, there's a place not too far from here that's got killer menudo. I'm gonna take you, man.
Yeah.
sounds awesome. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Next one is name one super gigantic goal that you plan to achieve in the future.
well, for me, it's think digital growage. I mean, I'm focused. I'm excited about it. I see it.
Mhm.
Every day I get incredible feedback of people that need the help. So that's where I'm at right now. I think from that, a lot of things are going to spark up. So
Cool deal.
keeping focused. Yep.
Okay, and Angel, I want to change this last one a little bit, being that he's French.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
we've had a white president, we've had a African American president, an entrepreneur president. If we ever had a French president, what would be the first three executive decisions? Do you feel like I don't want to throw you off, but what do you think?
The French president. Oh shoot, that's a good one. I guess we have a camembert on Tuesdays.
Have what on Tuesdays?
It's a French national cheese.
Really?
So what you do with the cheese? You eat it with wine, or what you do?
Yeah, wine. Actually,
Mhm.
it's a particular cheese it's a French national cheese, and quickly the reason it is
Mhm.
during World War One,
Mhm.
the men went to war and the women packed them food.
Ah,
They all packed them a cheese, and this camembert is like this particular cheese got a crust, and there's a little wooden box that kind of airs it out.
oh wow.
And
Yeah.
out of all the areas of France, most of the women made the same cheese, so it became the national cheese. And here's an interesting thing on that one quickly, is that every day they would go to war, and it was a brutal war. They had those trenches, and they would go out, and it was a bloodbath, and they
Uh-huh.
would go fight each other, and they would fall their deads. But every day when they had to go out to battle, they had to ask themselves that question: do I eat the whole thing now because I come back this afternoon?
Wow.
Or do I just nibble on it day after day to make it last?
That's a tough choice.
Interesting, man. That
is good history there.
that is really good. I'm gonna have to try
Yeah.
that. Is it actually
Yeah.
good eating cheese? Is it good?
Oh man, it's amazing. And now here's the thing: once you eat the cheese, it's kind of got a peculiar taste. But once you mix it with red wine, there's a chemical reaction. That's just
Can we find in this area here that we at right now? That Dan and me are?
Let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. Chemical reaction.
Yeah.
Is this your freaking guy's? Is this your guy's secrets? Because you seem like a little bit of a ladies' guy. Is this the French secret right now? Is this mysterious
Yeah.
cheese mixed with wine?
Yeah.
This is how you freaking guys do it, man.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
learned the French connection,
I know.
the single biggest tip.
French connection.
Okay, man, I want to try that.
yeah, it's a French national pastime. And yeah, with some gals, it is a heartbreak, a heart stealer. Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, what else? Two more, man. Executive decisions.
Well, I mean, if you're a French guy, I would ship everybody to France mandatory. You spend a few weeks there to understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And third, what would it be? I think I would bring back the Concorde. So you're gonna go from Paris to New York.
I'm with you on that. I love the Concorde.
I've never been
It's-
on the Concorde.
Me neither, but me neither.
I love it. We're like this. You ever been on it? No.
Yeah, but I was always wishing to be on the Concorde, but they stop it too quick,
Yeah.
Very cool, man.
Yeah.
And one last thing, since this is a Spanglish show, I want to share one last story.
Okay, yeah, give it to me.
Go ahead.
I took Spanish in high school, and I absolutely hated it.
Uh-huh.
I had this teacher that was like, just no passion, no drive. So I absolutely hated the language.
Just dry.
And a year later, I switched school, and I came in with that attitude that I hated the language. But I met a teacher that was absolutely incredibly passionate about his country.
That's
and
awesome.
he was so passionate about it that it perspired. And out of the blue, all of a sudden, I was excited about Spanish. I went from F to A's, and went to Spain, went to South America.
Nice.
And the point being there, if you're not passionate about it, get out. Don't teach. Don't be in it, and I know it may be
That's right.
but that's real. If you're not passionate about it, you have no business teaching it.
You know, I think I had that same teacher at one point.
You did?
the one with no passion.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Very good, man. Well, listen, it's been awesome getting to know you. And before we go, first of all, any parting advice for our listeners and our viewers? You know, they're sitting here listening to a guy that literally a very young entrepreneur spirit, you know, very young, still really a kid, so to speak.
Yeah.
Man, I'm out of here, $500. I'm moving to New York. Really bet everything on himself, followed his passion, and made it.
Pretty good.
Right? So the people listening and viewing saying, you know, this is something, maybe it's time to hang up the job. Maybe it's time to pursue my dreams, really get in and chase my vision and take a shot at making an impact. Any advice for them?
Yeah, I think get a plan, get a mentor, get focused, and get in an environment where you cultivate yourself. I mean, you're the quarterback. You got to get your mindset straight, and you gotta block things out. You gotta, as far as content overloaded, I think if you can take a sabbatical from content, you can hone in on your thing. And then once you have that, just make sure you stay consistent. It's all a mind game. So you gotta protect what you see. Many times people are there, like Eminem. He saw himself as a big time rapper, but at the time he was a peon. But he visioned himself as a king. But when you're flipping burgers at Burger King, and you're telling them about your dream, they're like, yeah, whatever, just shut up.
They put you down, yeah.
That's right.
So finding what it is and being true to yourself, to your vision, and surround yourself with the best you can. And you're entitled to, this country, you're entitled to speak your mind, but you're also entitled to what you allow in your ears or not. So you got to be selective, and you've got to be like a bouncer at the door. If you have your dream and your vision, and you know you're going to get there, just stay the course and
That's right.
everybody out that doesn't need to be there. And surround yourself with people that will support your dream and your vision.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, you have, you're being so great with us. Will you come back to the Spanglish Business Show in the future?
Dude, come
Thanks,
back, man. Hey, and how can we get more information if we want to connect with you, kind of catch up on what you're doing with your new project? Where can we go?
The best is Facebook and Think Digital Grow Rich. So just
Think Digital Grow Rich.
Perfect.
I have the site as well, but I think Facebook is more current. We're doing some live, and then you'll be able to see the Monopoly game and really grasp onto that. I think once you see that, you guys will, everybody kind of enjoys it and learns a lot. So
awesome.
Well, man, listen, it's been a real treat to sit here and kind of rap with you. As I knew right away from our first meeting, we were, like I said, cut from the same cloth. And really, I've even gleaned quite a bit of value just here talking with you. And I'm sure we'll continue to connect and maybe even do some things in the future. Come back for sure, man. We want to have you on.
Absolutely.
And, man, really valuable. Angel, it's always cool connecting with you, man.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate everybody tuning in. And we will see you next time. There you have it. Mesure, everybody. Stick with us. Tune in next time. We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
All right.